Hey, hey, welcome in. Huh. Let the good vibes all begin. Something good is about to happen. Sure. Yeah. I've been waiting on you. Got a seat with your name. Started with a coffee chat. Now we about to change the game. You got a story worth telling, and I got a room full of ears. So drop whatever you've been holding, get ready because your time is here. Because when real people talking real people, something shifts. When real stories meet real listeners, something lifts. Every Saturday we show up and we bring our best. Show up to Carrie Connects and leave it best. Show up, show up. Something is happening here. Carrie Connects, Carrie Connects. This is your moment, come near where every story intersects and every heart connects. From a coffee chat to the main stage, just bring who you are. Carrie Connects, Carrie Connects. Connection is the start. Carrie Connects. Entrepreneurs, voices, friends, where inspiration never ends. You did not come this far just to sit in the back. Everything you are through, we're getting you ready for that. So step into the light. Let somebody see your face. Because the right conversation can change everything in this place. Because real people talk to real people, something shifts. And real stories meet real listeners, something lifts. Every Saturday we show up and we bring our best. Show up to Carrie Connects and leave it bright. Show up. Something is happening here. Carrie Connects, Carrie Connects. This is your moment, come near where every story intersects and every heart connects. So the coffee chat to the main stage, just bring who you are. Carrie Connects, Carrie Connects. Connection is the start. We started over coffee just to see if it was real. Yeah, you opened up and showed me everything you feel. Now the world is watching and they say the very best chance. Carrie Connects is where somebody finally cares. Show up. Something is happening here. Carrie Connects, Carrie Connects. Listen, you know it come near. Every story intersects and every heart connects. From the coffee chat to the main stage, just be who you are. Carrie Connects. Real conversations, real connections. This is Carrie Connects. Show up.
All right, all right, all right. Thank you all so much for showing up. I am super excited to be here with my amazing guest today, Coach Lee of Patterns of Possibility, founder of Patterns of Possibility LLC, and founder of Social Connections Summit. So, Coach Lee, welcome to Carrie Connects. How are you doing today?
Oh, I am pumped up. Whoa. That introduction, I mean, and the vibe of the show is off the I need to calm myself down right now.
All right, I love that. I love that. I love that. So, for everybody that is meeting you for the first time, introduce yourself.
Hey, my name is Coach Lee Hopkins. I'm a social connections coach for ADHD and neurodivergent professionals.
Awesome. Now, what does that mean? What exactly do you do?
I help them make more meaningful relationships. That means everybody's like trying to search for real deep connection, and those who really think deeply kind of struggle to find those individuals who can think on that level that they do, who have the same interests. And so I help my clients discover more about themselves to share with other people, just be more comfortable sharing with other people.
I
So that's how you make more meaningful connections.
I absolutely love that. Now, when I asked you what you wanted to talk about today, Coach Lee, you said your answer was simple and it was really brave. You said that you wanted to talk about how hiding to fit in has left you lonely. And I know that's not an easy thing to say out loud. I know a lot of people are feeling that, especially post COVID, but some people were feeling that even before COVID. But it's really rare to hear a man say that. So start us there and talk about what does hiding to fit in actually look like in real life.
Well, yeah, I've been feeling this my whole life, hiding to fit in so many ways, so many different aspects of my personality and my character I've hidden so that other people would like me. And so even here, I would be hiding if I didn't say that I was a transgendered man, because you would listen to me, a cis male would listen to me, and they would be like, "Yeah, that resonates. He understands my experience." But I'm like, there's a part of me that does not understand that experience. And that would be an example of me hiding my truth. I would have just been quiet, like, I know exactly what you feel. I know exactly how I know all of that, but I don't really. And so hiding my personality, hiding the things that are important and interesting about who I am, hiding the things that I would like about who I would share with other people if I weren't afraid of being judged, is something that people do all the time. It's something I've done my entire life. And it's really hard to say, if I were a guy who was raised around men who love sports all the time, who were just so interested in it, and I wasn't. I'm interested in artwork. I'm interested in reading. It's hard if you've been conditioned to be around people who are interested in one topic, who expect you to be one way, to come out and say, hey, I don't like any of that stuff. That's not me. It's very scary. So that's why you don't hear many people saying it. People are living that truth for themselves right now.
Absolutely. I agree with you 110%. I know as a little girl, we're often taught that you should get married and have kids and get the house with the picket fence. But for a long time, I was real cool just being me, right? I was not one of those little girls that grew up wanting a family, wanting children. I eventually did get married and adopted a son, but that's not where it started. And even some of that came from societal pressure. So I appreciate you being honest and genuine and sharing that. You used a term though that I want to clarify for the audience. You mentioned a cis male. Is that CIS
Yes.
male? Okay, can you explain what that is?
So it means that it's a person who was born and that as a male and identifies as a male today.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Thank you for explaining that. Now, you came to my hometown, okay? You came to Chi-Town, right? About 10 years ago from Ohio. Shout out to all the people here from Ohio. And make sure if you're in the audience, drop where you are watching us from, your city, your state, and I got to know the weather because in Indiana, we've been having a lot of tornadoes lately, which is really strange for this area. But you went from Ohio to Chicago for work, and now you are fully self employed. So, congratulations. But what was the path that kind of took you from having a job to building patterns of possibility?
Well, it's that same kind of feeling where I was hiding myself. So doing things that didn't feel good to me and work at work. So I used to work in analytics and I did like analytics. I enjoyed looking at spreadsheets and creating reports and data and things like that. But the culture of the environment, how we are supposed to act, how are we supposed to engage with other people, and the hobbies and the interests of people, I just felt so lonely. I just felt like I had to mask and hide myself. I remember working in a corporation, it's a big one who had different departments. And in those different departments, we had maybe the department I was in, maybe we had like 5 or 6 teams of 6. And of that department, I was just one of 2 Black people. And more, even being transgendered, there's no one who could really, I felt like could really understand my experience. And then I found out about the neurodivergence, the autism, the ADHD afterward. But that contributed to me feeling like uncomfortable there, like I couldn't be myself, and I had to hide. So I left that job and went to another job, and I found the same thing, the same experience. And I realized that, oh, I just need to do something for myself. I need to work for myself because I can't fit into a box. I get to run my company the way I want to. I get to work on my own schedule, and it's not all glitz and glamour, but it's exactly what I want to do. I don't have to hide myself to be here because it's just me.
I love, love, love that entrepreneurship, not having to hide yourself and really given the opportunity to work at different companies and saying, you know what, this is not for me, and creating your own space to work in. And so I absolutely adore you for doing that. Now, you were late identified. You mentioned as autistic, and you described the moment as your kind of world being turned upside down when we had our coffee chat. So, what did getting that language do for you and helping you to understand all of those years of really trying to fit in?
Had my world turned upside down in a very good way. It's like I could see and make sense of my past. I could see and
Mm-hmm.
make sense. Oh, this, as I learned more about what autism looks like and how it presents in other people, I've learned about myself. Like, oh, I'm having those experiences back in the day when I was working in the corporate offices. I had no idea what to say to people. I didn't know how
Mm-hmm.
to interact with them. We're supposed to make small talk, and I just don't know what to say, first of all. And I don't even care about what they're interested in either. And it was strange because we just couldn't connect on the level. I didn't think that they could understand me. And so having me understand more about why I felt that way helps me in these kinds of conversations that we have. And by the way, I appreciate the depth of this kind of conversation more than any small talk. That has been another thing I've discovered as being autistic.
Well, I appreciate that compliment because that's what Carrie Connects is all about. We're about going deep and getting to the real crux of the conversation so that the audience can meet who you are authentically and expose you to new people that may really benefit from what it is that you're doing with Patterns of Possibility, but also to introduce people to you and your network and what you're doing so that they can share with their network. I believe that we are 1 degree of separation from everybody. And so I know prior to social media, you used to hear, oh, 6 degrees of separation. But with social media, I think that we're a lot closer than that. And so I appreciate that compliment. Thank you so much for saying that. So let's kind of transition a little bit because I know that you spent all of these years kind of building these coping mechanisms just to be able to connect with people, to manage your energy, to be able to hold a conversation. So, what did that look like for you when it was working? What did it look like for you when it wasn't working? And when did you just realize that, hiding was making you feel lonely?
That's a really great question because looking back, I don't think any of it worked. I think that I was found out all the time. My poor attempts at small talk didn't really get me invited to any parties or anything like that. My questions to try and get to know people, they seem to be a little too deep and invasive, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't notice that either. And so until I got the diagnosis, the word I'm going to clarify, not a diagnosis because I'm not diagnosed by a doctor, but I'm self-identified, and that's a
Mm-hmm.
experience in itself. But um, before I understood that, I didn't not get found out. I just thought it was out weird, and I needed to try more. And so all the things that I tried just didn't work, including going to therapy. I learned more about myself. I learned how I feel about experiences. I learned that other people have feelings about their experiences, but I didn't learn how to actually start conversations. I didn't learn how to end conversations or where to go to find conversations that were
Mm-hmm.
interesting and important to me that would allow me to be myself. And so one of the things that I did quite a bit was drink. I was in the bars quite often. I actually went to karaoke a lot. I used to host karaoke because I was so into that. And I thought, this is working. This is one of the coping mechanisms that I found that I've done is drink because that's what people do to make friends and meet people, according to
Mm-hmm.
every show that I've ever watched. And it didn't work. After I tried a few times to connect with people when I was drinking, hey, I'm having a problem with my my partner, my girlfriend, or my job, and I'm just like, oh, yeah, whatever. It's like weren't able to connect on anything that was important to me. So none of it worked, and I felt really just awful. Like I was the problem because I perceived that it was working for everybody else. Everybody else in the bar, regardless, had a great connection. It was just me. Everybody else at work had a great connection with their coworkers. It was just me.
I can definitely understand that, putting yourself in situations where you can't really tell what's going on with other people, and so we kind of create these stories in our mind that other people are having all of this success, that their family is phenomenal, their life is phenomenal, and especially with social media, doesn't it look like everybody is just having the best time?
Everybody. It's like the
and it's and you're like, well, what is going on with me? And I think because of that, people really carry this shame and this guilt about not doing life the right way. It's like, what's going on with me? How come I can't make these connections? And we don't really know what it is. We just know that something is not working. But where do you think that shame comes from? And what do you think people should do when they start to feel that shame?
Well, I think it doesn't start with us. Somebody told us, somebody taught us to be ashamed. Somebody taught us that we needed to fit this cookie cutter mold. I know when I was growing up, it was you want to get a nice job, you want to go to college, get a nice job, get a relationship, buy a house, get a 2.5 kids, I think, and a dog with a white picket fence. I
Right.
mean, they really had the vision for us and
Yeah.
what we needed to do, the steps to get there. And if you subscribe to that vision, like I did, like many other millions of people have, and you discover that, oh, well, college just isn't for you. Oh man, you can't find a partner or you don't have good friends because of your communication. Not even because of your communication, it's because you're broken. You haven't done the right things to make those connections with people. You will feel a lot of shame because it looks like the rest of the world got the right message, but you didn't. You got it too, but you messed it up somehow, and you can't tell anybody else. And I think a lot of people are walking around with the same intense idea, the sense of shame for themselves. I'm different in some way, and I'm broken because I'm different. And what I've done encountering that, because I've had a lot of shame about being somebody in a space that I shouldn't belong or I didn't belong, um, I I really leaned into it, and that's where therapy was really helpful. I really leaned into it to talk to people about that. And since I didn't have anyone in my life personally that could support me, I really needed to find an adult. Like I felt like a little kid out here. Like, "Hey, somebody please help me understand what's going on."
Yeah.
And therapy was really helpful to unpack those emotions of shame, guilt, and embarrassment. And I think that is the very first step. And then after that, it's time to take that new sense of self. Like, I don't need to be ashamed for what I couldn't do or what I didn't know. I'm going to have patience. I'm going to have compassion for the past self who didn't know these things. And I'm going to love the new person I am. You go take that person out into the world and you show them to as many people as will look. That's what I did. That's what I recommend people do too.
And I agree with you. I agree that you should show your authentic self to the world and be unapologetic about it. So I
Yeah.
love how you went from loneliness to a way out. And you have this specific phrase that we kind of talked about on our coffee chat. Your phrase is find your people, not necessarily to be more social and not just anybody. You said your people. And you use this analogy about where you talked about a few minutes ago about going to the bar looking for somebody to play board games and to play crossword puzzles or to have conversations with about your relationship. Everybody else is kind of just there. Like you said, they're watching the sports or they're drinking. So kind of break that down a little bit more for us. Why is being in the wrong room so expensive?
It is so draining to be in the wrong places. We've been in the wrong places for our entire life, and well, I have. Let's say that I have. I've been in the wrong places because I wasn't able to really connect with people, wasn't able to show who my authentic self was. And when I started to show myself, people didn't like me, and I stayed there anyway. And then I hid myself again. So being in the wrong places is energy draining. As I learned about my ADHD, autism, and ADHD, I learned about how much energy I spend processing my thoughts and
Mhm.
ruminating over conversations, running in my head many, many times. I could have said this, I could have said that. Oh man, I messed it up. It takes so much energy to do that, and it's physically exhausting too. After socializing, I'm done, I'm tired. So, with that in mind, keeping that kind of energy level understood, if you go into a place and you know that the right people aren't there, essentially you're going to have to hide yourself. You're going to have to be careful about what you say, how you show
Mhm.
up, how you dress, all the things. You have to really perform. That's draining to do. And when you're in those places, it's very likely that you're not going to find your person or your people because you're not being authentic. You were
Mhm.
performing. So you put all of that energy into this grand, big performance and you get nothing.
Right.
You don't get the thing you were looking for, the real authentic connection. And so what I help my clients do is understand that they don't need to even go to that process. A lot of my
Mhm.
clients will be a little afraid to say no to an invitation, even though they know that they're going to go through this process of masking, not to get the thing, the connection that they want. They're afraid to say no. I encourage them to say no, use that energy. It's scary with rejection sensitivity dysphoria. It might be scary for you to say, no, man, you're going to go through this whole process. It's not going to feel good. You're going to be even more drained. Let's process the rejection sensitivity instead.
Absolutely. And I
Yeah.
love that you talked about performing because what I realized, and this may be part two, but I want to have a real conversation with you about performing in a room of performers. How about that? And so a lot of times we're performing, but we don't even realize that the people around us are performing as well. And that makes me think of that song with the line, Tears of a Clown. And so we're all in there acting and not really making authentic connections because I think part of it is like you said, we don't know who we are. We haven't identified our authentic self. So I love that you did that, identify, even if it's self identification. I love that you took the time to figure out who you are and that you help other people to do that. And you talked about these barriers. First of all, not knowing yourself, right, after years of performing for other people, but also not having the language or the confidence to really share who you are once you know who you are. So, can you say more about that? Because I've had moments where when I present my authentic self, there's still this sense of rejection and this pushback from people. And so I think that ties into your concept of find your people. When I'm being authentic and I have people around me who maybe are not at the same level of self development, sometimes your authentic self gets rejected. So, can you say a little bit more about sharing who you are once you know who you are?
Yeah, that's part of the process. Believe
Mm-hmm.
it or not, it's really a part of the process. What I've discovered is that, I didn't know who I was because I was performing. And then I understood more about who I was and I had trouble expressing that new person to other people. And furthermore, I didn't know where to go that would have people like me. I was kind of afraid to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So this new person was like really kind of stuck and going back to the old places and being rejected by those people. It's usually what happens. Like, oh, you've changed. You're not the same person. We liked you when you were performing. And so you're like, oh, I don't like being here. I'm not going to perform anymore. And you come back to this place where, oh, wow, I don't want to perform. I want to be my authentic self, but I don't know what the expression of that looks like. And so when you get to that point, it's time to go out and do new things. New things. Do not go back to different bars. Don't go to different bars. I used to go to a bar and I'm thinking, oh yeah, this is the place I always go to. Let me go to a different one. Maybe I'll have a new experience. No, no, no,
Ah, okay.
completely different, something completely different. I went to a
Mm.
comedy club for an example. I went to a comedy club and there was alcohol there, and I said, well, it's not a bar. No, new experience, something that is very uncomfortable for you. Go take a class, go for a walk, go to a coffee shop, go sit down somewhere, people watch, do something completely different. Do something, I'll say once more, completely different, because then the language of who you are, the expression of who you are will show up. People will come to you. If you're going to an art class, you're going to talk to new people and you're going to figure out how you want to express yourself. Um, so it's really important that you don't do what you've done before, and you recognize that it is part of the process to be rejected by people who don't like this new you, who knew you before. They don't like this new you. But even as you said, Coach Carrie, about going to new places, as you going to different places and are not as
Mm-hmm.
developed as you are, you will run into that too. And I don't want you to believe that you're doing the wrong thing. You're expressing your authentic self, and no matter where you go, someone's not going to connect with it. You're going to
Okay.
get one of three reactions. You're going to get one where people are like, oh my goodness, where have you been? We all want that. You're gonna get
Mm-hmm.
another reaction where people were just like, and they're gonna walk on by. You don't take offense to that. Be your authentic self. Don't turn it down. You'll need to turn it up. They're just not their cup of tea. You're just not their flavor. And then there's the third one where people are gonna be like, turn out that light. And they're gonna be mad at you for being your authentic self. That could happen anywhere. That can happen
Right.
anywhere. Be prepared for that. But know that expressing your authentic self is how you are going to connect with people. It's just getting through knowing who is for you and who is not. That's discernment. That's discernment that helps you do that.
I absolutely love everything that you just said, in particular the three examples. And so I've got a lot of those reactions, right? And so being able to continue to be your authentic self, and I appreciate you saying it's part of the process, because a lot of people feel like when they get rejected, if they're in this group and maybe there's some adversities that they're not being their authentic selves, that there's something about them that needs to change. But sometimes there is, but other times you just need to change your people. And I
Yeah,
really like that idea of going into new environments that are completely different, where you're getting outside of your comfort zones. And so
yeah.
I love that.
I'd like to say real quick, because you said something I think is really important about sometimes there is something you have to change and sometimes there's something you don't have to change. So how do you know with like discernment? Is it
Mm-hmm.
me or is it them in this space? And I would say that it depends on whether you are looking for a really close friendship with a person and the value that you have for your authentic self. There's something about your core personality, like being on time, like and your person, your friend is chronically late and it frustrates you, and you just can't get rid of that frustration. Well, maybe your relationship needs to you may create some distance or create some expectations around how you're going to show up for each other. But your authentic self requires somebody who's close to you, probably in that instance, be on time to match that value to
Mm-hmm.
match that value. So you might need that. The other thing I want to say is that, well, is it you? Well, looking at your community. I mean, community is not just one person. It is a collection of people with different values who share a goal, right? They all share a goal. Like if you have a neighborhood and you're living in a neighborhood with your neighbors, it's likely that they all want it to stay safe. They don't want a fire to come through and burn all the houses down. You have a vested
Mm-hmm.
interest in being safe. But you might not like the guy across the street because he lets his dog poo everywhere. You don't like that. It doesn't match with your values. So, but do you fight with them? Do you change your view of that? Do you have a conversation? So it's kind of like you don't know if you need to change something about yourself until you have a conversation with those other people that are a part that share the goal with you. So if you're questioning whether or not you need to change something, you want to evaluate the kind of relationship you want with them. You only change if it feels good for you. You can't change if you want to keep that person close or you're safe. You can't do that. It won't work. Well, it hasn't worked for me. I've not seen it work. So I thought that was really important to jump on and share.
Absolutely. And I love that, because this is a conversation, and I appreciate you expanding that concept. So, as we continue to expand, let's talk about the fact that June is both Men's Mental Health Month and also Pride Month. And you're living kind of at the intersection of all of it as an autistic transgender man. So much of your work is really about helping people to stop hiding, to show up as who they really are. So, what does Pride Month mean? Happy Pride Month. What does Pride Month mean to you personally, if anything? And how does your own journey to living openly connect to the work that you do when you're helping other people to find the courage to be seen?
That's a great question because Pride, I struggled with that for quite a bit. I struggled with any kind of celebration of a person. I struggle with, I'm gonna admit this out here live. I struggled with Black history. I struggled with pride. I struggled with neurodivergence, just the celebrations, any kind of celebration, because I felt like I needed to fit neatly into one box for each of them. So for
Mm-hmm.
Black history and growing up in a Black family with religion and the kind of connections that they had as food, and so the food is good. I'm not going to say it.
All right.
You've seen the Boondocks, and if you've ever seen the Boondocks, there's an episode
I
about
have.
how people get the itis from the food, and it's paying attention to that kind of stuff and trying to bring awareness to family members and getting rejected from that. So you're not Black enough because you're doing these things. You're not cooking the
Mm-hmm.
way you do, right? And so I felt the sense of rejection from that, like, oh. And
Mm-hmm.
then being trans and being queer, lesbian before transitioning, I was like, I don't know if I fit there either, because the people on the poster don't quite look like me, and I don't think they're having my experiences. And there was a time, and I think it's still ongoing, where trans people they're trying to. Many people have rejected the idea of having trans as part of this queer space, and so
Mm-hmm.
oh well, I guess I don't belong here either. And then in the autism community, well, I'm not formally diagnosed, so that usually gets some people upset. Like, you need to use different language about how you identify. Wow, like, geez. You know, is that, if you resonate with that, I welcome your questions and your thoughts. Actually, that's what the Social Connection Summit is all about, that intersection between the three. But it was really hard to pick one to celebrate. And so when I go into any of those celebrations, I bring all of the identity with me. Black history, I'm also neurodivergent and queer. All right, Juneteenth, I celebrated that yesterday. And if you've seen this post on LinkedIn, I went out with a shirt that says autism, just a different frequency. And my community there dapped me up. They had conversations with me. We had a discussion. It was beautiful. So I'm saying that there's no need, if you're really living your authentic self, to hide under just one identity. If you are all of it, your community will love you. The right people, your people, let's say, in the community are going to love you.
Absolutely. And so I love that as a transgender man, you're consistently found out in these male spaces because you talk openly, which I love, but you talk openly about feelings. And sometimes men can sense something different in how you communicate because you ask these real questions and you actually want to know the person. And when we were talking, you modeled a way of asking that kind of goes past sports. It goes past scores without going too deep, too fast. Simple questions like, hey, did you play sports as a child? Did you have fun playing sports? Did your parents encourage you to play sports? So, what do you notice in these spaces that most men may not notice? And what do you think happens when a man gets asked one of those questions?
Um, so when I ask those kinds of questions, I think I notice that many people feel uneasy because perhaps they don't trust that I'm going to do something kind with the information that they share with me. So asking a question like, did you play sports as a kid, might bring up something where they wanted to and they couldn't, or something uncomfortable for them. So they might kind of be like, why are you asking me that? Why are you asking me?
Mm-hmm.
That's how it
Mm-hmm.
gets found out in some cis male spaces that I've been in, because they usually want to talk about stats. They usually want to talk about other people's stories and other people's experiences. But I really want to get to know them as people. What were they like? What do they like now? What are their hopes, dreams, and things like that? And if you're a person who likes to know those kinds of things and share those kinds of things with other people, then we would connect pretty easily. But if you're
Mm-hmm.
not, then you would put your defenses up and feel like there's something off about this, something off about it.
I agree with that. And speaking of something being off, I think that happens a lot when you're having conversations with people and they're not really listening to you. They're looking for their moment to speak. And I think listening is really an art. It's a skill. And so
Oh,
when
yeah.
you're when you're
Oh, yeah.
having conversations with people, they're sometimes missing that connection because they're not listening to what it is that you're saying. They're listening to see what they're going to say next. And I think whether it's men or women or whatever space you're identifying yourself in, that I would encourage people to listen authentically, to learn how to listen, to hear what the other person is actually saying and what the other person is asking you. I think that would bring us a lot closer. And getting comfortable asking questions that society doesn't necessarily tell us that we should ask, and removing those labels. You talked about all of these different identifiers and the holidays with Black History Month, and there's Native American History Month, and there's Asian Pacific Islander Month, and there's all of these holidays and all of these months, and so many people are multi-layered. You know, kind of just peeling off those layers and looking at each other as human being and embracing the diversity and not having to segment ourselves into all of these different spaces. So I know that this is Men's Mental Health Month and Pride Month, and your story kind of speaks to both. And you started earlier by naming your own loneliness out loud, which I think a lot of people struggle with doing. But this is exactly the thing that most people are taught to hide, where we're taught to pretend. We're taught to hide our authentic selves. So if you could say one thing to somebody that's watching, you know, who keeps telling everybody who they are, and they kind of feel fine, but they know that they're not really being authentic. They're hiding this part of who they are. What would you say to them?
Wow, I'd say you come out when your time is ready, when you're ready for it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that that would be the first thing that I say, like expressing yourself deep down to other people, because it's not work that happens externally. I mean, it's harder to do externally. I mean, that is, if you say that I've been hiding all this time to somebody else, it's harder to do, to say that and then have to process the fact that you said that out loud,
Mm-hmm.
because it is an internal experience. It's, you know how you think something for a very long time, and then when you say it, I'm like, oh, I said that. You have to do that with your entire new identity that you express to the world for yourself, but also with another person who may not react in a way that's positive or feels good or scares you. And even if they did react positively, you could still ruminate and think, oh, did they really care? Are they really going to support me? Such and such. What
Mm-hmm.
I would say is take some time and be intentional about expressing to other people, even if you know this isn't fit, this doesn't feel good. I keep expressing that I'm a straight guy to my family and to my friends. I keep
Mm-hmm.
expressing that I'm hiding. Even if you know that, take some time internally to prepare yourself for coming out to other people, because that's the most important thing. You are all you have, essentially. You have to live with yourself and how you feel about yourself. And taking some time to, I would say, journal, practice the expression of it to yourself. And if you can, of course, see a therapist, because practicing with somebody who's going to help you say the words, who's going to help you hold space for you, is going to make it easier for you to express to other people. So please remember that your safety is number one, and there's no shame in keeping yourself safe. There's never any shame in doing that.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you 1,001% that we should take the time. And I love the journaling piece because even when I read books, I do daily book reports. And so I'm always writing, like, what did I get from this book? How can I implement what I've read into my lifestyle? And then I create these action steps. But I think it's important when we're researching our own identity. And it's not always about, am I identifying as male, female, am I heterosexual or homosexual, am I part of the LGBTQ community? Sometimes it's about being a mom or a wife or a father or a husband. There's so many identities. When my sister did our DNA ancestry, I said, "Oh, that's why I like Thai food." Okay, look, so, but there are so many different layers, and I think journaling is really important. That hand-eye connection that helps our brain to retain information and gives us an opportunity to kind of review our notes and explore. I think that's wisdom that people really, really, really should take to heart. And so I
Yeah.
appreciate.
And I want to say that if you struggle with journaling, if writing things down, because everything you said is, I think, a lot more powerful when you write things down. If you
Hmm.
just can't get to that point, I'd like to share some other options, and that is doing a video of yourself, talking to yourself, saying your truth out loud to you. It is amazing what it does to you psychologically to see another person and talking to them about who you are. And then also voice notes if you feel like you just can't say that to yourself on video. But the point is to get it out of your head and make an expression of it.
Absolutely. And so now we're going to go to one of my favorite parts of Carrie Connects. I have not come up with I know I told you all last Saturday that I was going to come up with a new name for this section. Have not. So it's still Carrie Connects audience Q&A. And so the first question is from Jay Trevetti. And he asked, what did exclusion feel like for you? When you're disabled or have a chronic illness, for him, it feels like we're being excluded. And the goal of inclusion has really shut down when there's exclusion. So it's heartbreaking and feels like betrayal. So, what would you say? What did exclusion feel like for you?
Wow, exclusion. Jay, my heart goes out to you because I definitely know where you're going and where you're coming from with this. Exclusion felt like I was completely broken, and
Hmm.
that I think one of the reasons why I leaned towards using alcohol was because, well, that's something that didn't make me feel so broken and I could connect with people. And when things like that stopped working, I felt like, oh, well, there's no reason for me to be around. And so that's what exclusion felt like. It's like you are nothing all the time. You are
Mm.
bad, you're wrong, you're broken. And for those of us who have made it through that point and have sought to be our authentic selves and still felt excluded because now our authentic self is not what people before liked, and we're struggling to find those others who will like us because we just don't know
Hmm.
right away, it can feel worse because we feel like we fixed all the things and now we shouldn't be excluded, and it's happening again. I'm stuck in
Hmm.
between the two. What I want to let you know from there is that adjusting the mindset to know that that is a part of the process. Like being by yourself and being alone is a part of the process for a short period of time, for a period of time until you figure out yourself. And one of the things that have helped me, and I tell all my clients this, the thing that has helped me is that when I'm in that place and I feel like I'm misunderstood by everybody, I can't be the one to misunderstand myself. I've got to know what brings me joy. I've got to know what I like to do so I can go do those things. I got to know those things about myself. And if I don't know what those things are, my mission is to figure them out, go to different places, talk to different people, say different things. That's how you get through this spot, discovering yourself when you feel excluded so that you can go present your authentic self to the right people. Like, oh, those are the right people. I'm going to go over there.
I agree with that 100%. And I appreciate you responding to that question. The next question is from Joe Perez Ribas. He asked, do either of you or anyone feel apprehensive about meeting people in person versus virtually?
Oh, well, I definitely like virtual because I just want to roll over and put whatever on, put my face on, and set up my lighting, and it gets the best angles. I mean, I am all about this virtual thing. I enjoy it, but I also enjoy going to meet people. Like I said about the energy levels earlier, is that it takes time and effort and energy to go different places. I have to interact with other people. I have to watch how I speak or what I say, depending on the event. It takes energy and effort to get ready to go to the place, to do the performance, to come back, and to be in my place. It takes energy. So if I'm going to go meet someone in person, then I will be really intentional about what we do. And it shows that I am really interested in connecting with them.
Absolutely. And I think one of the phrases that you just use is do the performance. And so a lot of times when we're going out, even as our authentic self, it really is a performance. Now, I'm a tourist, so I love when people say, oh, it's not going to happen. Yes, because then I'm back in bed, right? Or back in front of the television. But it is a lot of work, even, virtually, to put your face on, to get your mindset together, to get in front of people, to host an event, to be a guest at an event, because I believe in going to events with my camera on. But then also going in person is that extra layer. And so I know for me, Joe, I have felt some apprehension meeting people in person and virtually. Now I don't have the same apprehension because I'm comfortable in who I am, and I know that I'm going to always present as my authentic self. But in the past, especially before I really knew who I was, there were moments where I did feel a lot of apprehension. So, Coach Lee, I really appreciate you answering that question. And I'll take this next question. Joe again says, is there a link to join this conversation? First of all, Joe, let me say, love that you want to be a part of the conversation. And I always tell people the conversation is happening, the party is really happening on LinkedIn. If you're in the comment sections on LinkedIn, that's where the party is taking place. We can also see live comments on YouTube. We can see live comments from Facebook, and we can see live comments from Twitch. If you are watching on Substack or if you are watching on Instagram, we'll get to those comments after the show because we can't see them live in the stream. And so I love that you are asking this question because Carrie Connects is a platform where I highlight a particular guest and really talk to them about their experiences so that they can share with the audience. But if you're looking for opportunities to be a guest on the show, send me a DM. I would be more than happy to have a coffee chat with you and see if we have mutual interest of you being a guest on the show. But connect with Coach Lee. I have all the social handles at the bottom. And so make sure that you connect with Coach Lee. By bottom, I mean in the ticker section. And so I appreciate you asking that question. And then we have one more question. I have to find it. So pardon me for looking off to the side. There was one more question. And if I don't find the question, I apologize. Oh, here it is. So this question is for Layla, which I love. This is my Besties Beyond Borders buddy. We met virtually, and she lives in Canada. Now we talk every single day. But her question is, what can we do to create more inclusive spaces?
More inclusive spaces. I would start with myself. And I feel like I believe that that is a question for a lot of organizations. And they're asking this, like, how can I create more inclusive spaces to attract more individuals who want to stay and work with us? Because we're finding that creativity is all across different cultures, different identities. And we want to make sure, or organizations want to make sure that those want to stay. So creating those inclusive spaces, I would say at the individual level, starting with us, understanding more about ourselves, how we interact with those people that we don't necessarily have the same culture with, don't necessarily have the same identity with, don't necessarily have the same neurotype with. We want to check in on ourselves first to see what we know and how we feel about that and what we know about those individuals. And from there, we want to start listening. And the reason why I said check in with ourselves first is because we might be a little reactive or scared or confused about something that someone who doesn't look like us or sound like us says. So then when we have that opportunity, we can listen to them, I think. So listening to them, listening to their needs. But also, I think that I have this social connection summit that I talk about this because although listening to them sounds great. Listening sounds great. But one of the things that I found myself struggling with is that in an organization who I had pretty good leaders who wanted to support me, they would ask me, Lee, what is it that you need? I wouldn't know. I wouldn't
Mhm.
know how to advocate for myself. I didn't know that I was even um, ADHD. I didn't know that I was having communication challenges, or I didn't know what I could ask for in a workplace. And so bringing an expert in who has studied this to help is going to help you create a more inclusive space. Because my supervisors, I believe that they wanted to help. They asked me what I needed though, and I didn't know,
Mhm.
and they didn't have
Mhm.
any other options. So directly to the organizations, hire some people to help you understand more about your culture to facilitate this conversation. And if you can't do that, the Social Connection Summit 2026 on September 23rd and 24th is happening. We're bringing together experts to help us neurodivergent folks as well as the allies to understand more about their brains and connect with other people. So you don't know how to advocate for yourself, come talk to others who've been through that, make those connections. Also learn from speakers about their lived experience, about how what they've done has helped create a more inclusive workplace. September 23rd and September 24th, socialconnectionsummit.com.
Love that. And if you all look in the ticker, you can connect with Coach Lee, the website patternsofpossibility.com, on LinkedIn under Coach Lee Hopkins, and then, of course, the socialconnectionsummit.com as well. You can get more information there. And so before we go, one of the things that I wanted to do is just to highlight a few people in the audience that have really just made some amazing comments. And I got to scroll back to the top, y'all. Give me a second, okay?
All
And
right.
so we have people who are visiting from New York, from Florida, from Mexico, from Canada. And so I absolutely love that. People who are giving all of these amazing shout outs, people who are here from Michigan, people here. Oh, somebody from Columbus, Ohio. Okay, that's your old hometown. And also from Maryland as well. But I love that Yvette says that she absolutely loves karaoke. I know that was one of the things that you mentioned.
Yeah.
And so I like karaoke as well. I majored in vocal in high school, and so I absolutely love karaoke. But I also like
You're,
how you talked about doing different things too.
you're one of those who gets on stage and blows everybody away. And we're like, but then she gets out there and is like, oh, we are at a concert.
Right.
You're like, oh, wow. I always felt like I was winning when I saw those people get up on stage. I'm like, wow, that is
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. I'm getting this for free.
Right. I love that. And so I
And
don't do karaoke a lot because I feel like I could get up there and blow, concert tickets. I'm going to start charging.
yeah, right.
Right. And then I also love this comment from Sharon. She said, adults are in short supply, darling. Mad gratitude for becoming one. And so I love that comment also. And then Layla says, it's never easy to find a way to blend in when you feel different and when you try to connect with other people.
Yeah, it's never easy. And I won't give too much away on this. I really touch on it just a little bit because Layla, I think you brought up something that was really helpful. That reminds me of something that was really helpful for me. It's never easy, but I think that you can find one of three things to connect on. I teach this to my clients. It's the history, what brought us here. Like Carrie talked about how we connected over Chicago. Like what brought you to Chicago? We could talk about that. The history, you have similar history, your hobbies, the things you like to do for fun, or your habits. What do you do on a daily basis? Are you getting up every day to exercise? That's something that you could talk about. So if you just kind of think about some of those three things, then you can find something to share with other people. It's not easy, but I'm giving you a place to start.
I love that. And then just two more. This one is from Sharon. She says standards are the blueprint, and identity is fluid that follows flexibility within the blueprint.
Hmm. I like
And I,
that.
yeah, I think you do have to have standards, right? You have to set those boundaries. You have to have standards. And so I agree with that as well. And so the last comment that I wanted to put up, hey, somebody from Twitch. I love when Twitch shows up in the comment section because,
Yeah.
hey, and so I love when people from Twitch show up. But I think, where is this comment at? Oh my goodness gracious. Okay.
so excited for it too. Like, what is
Right,
it?
I know, I know. Oh, here it is right here. Okay, this is my favorite. Amazing podcast show today from Masood Rana, who is a freelancer. And so we appreciate you being here. We appreciate you watching our podcast. And so, last question, Coach Lee, and this is really important to me because I'm learning so much from this conversation. And so I know that a lot of times people are watching these shows and they're learning. I love from my last podcast last Saturday that somebody actually made a real connection and they were able to meet with that person and start participating in their events on their podcast. So, for everybody who sees themselves in this conversation, whether you're a late identified autistic adult, a self identified autistic adult, the person who's lost themselves trying to fit in, if you're transgender, if you're African American, if you identify in any of those spaces or other spaces that we've talked about during this conversation, people who are just navigating connection in general, what would you say to them? Where do they find you? And what is really the best first step?
The best first step is self reflection and understanding that it's okay to be safe. Like, I just
Mm-hmm.
really want to put that out there, right there. It's okay to be safe. Make sure you get yourself to a place where you feel comfortable. Don't feel like you have to on anybody's timeline tell people who you are or try to be different. And you don't have. It's on your own timeline. I just want to make sure that you really feel that when you come out, it's your decision. You have agency over the way your life looks. And when you're ready to make that step to share with other people, you can learn from my mistakes. You can
Mm-hmm.
learn what I discovered about being authentic, going to the right places, making sure to say the right things so that you can learn more about them more intentionally, not just be in conversation with them, answering their questions, but you guide the conversation because you're looking for something specific from other people. You can do all of that by connecting with me, by learning about what I've done at thepatternsofpossibility.com. So on my website, I have events. So there's no pressure. You come and you practice talking to other people, feeling more connected. So go to patternsofpossibility.com, check out events. If you want a more one on one focused conversation, you have something specific you want to talk about, you can book a clarity session with me. It's 30 minutes long, absolutely free. I'm there to make sure you leave with at least one actionable step to help you make more meaningful relationships. Wherever you are in your journey, I'm going to help you with one actionable step. And then finally, if you want something a little bigger with education to help you understand more about how your brain works, about connection with other people, and connect with other like minded professionals, check out the Social Connection Summit at socialconnectionsummit.com. I have lots of resources to help you understand more about yourself that is connecting you with other speakers who have done the work, who understand the science as well to help you make more meaningful relationships.
That was so well done. Always the consummate professional. I'm not sure, I was listening actively. If you talked about the meeting that you do this every other Thursday, or is it
I yeah,
two Thursdays a month? I don't think you talked about that. However, what I will say to the audience is go to Coach Lee's social media on LinkedIn. Find that event. When I tell you, and I go to a lot of events, when I tell you that it's the best event of the week, bar none, organized, structured, starts on time, ends on time, and I'm a consummate person for starting and ending on time. I respect people's time.
yeah.
I absolutely, absolutely love it. So if there's anything you want to say about that event as we wrap up, before we close out for today.
Absolutely. So I help all kinds of people in any life, any part of their life, personal and professional, making those connections. And this event she's talking about is called Neuro-Friendly Networking. It's for neurodivergent folks and their allies who want to connect with other business owners as well. So no matter what space you're in, you don't have to pretend, you don't have to hide yourself. You can be your authentic self. That is in your personal and professional life. Go to parentsofpossibility.com and check out my events tab. I also have an event for just socializing too, different from the Social Connection Summit, but check out parentsofpossibility.com/events.
I will have to come. I didn't know it was a party outside of that. I thought that was the party. So I will be in your event section later today. I really appreciate you taking time from your Saturday to the audience and to Coach Lee to be a guest on Carrie Connects. Coach Lee, if you are able to engage with people in the comments section and just respond to some of the questions and comments, that would be greatly appreciated. If you are able to stay until the outro ends, that's great. If you have something else to do, I appreciate you being here. Of course, we will connect again. And to the audience, as always, thank you all for spending some of your Saturday with us. Bye-bye for now.
Bye. Thank you so much, Carrie.
Thank you, Coach Lee.
Hey, hey, welcome in. Let the good vibes all begin. Something good is about to happen. Sure. I've been waiting on you. Got a seat with your name. Started with a coffee chat. Now we about to change the game. You got a story worth telling, and I got a room full of ears. So drop whatever you've been holding. Get ready because your time is here. Because when real people talk to real people, something shifts. When real stories meet real listeners, something lifts. Every Saturday we show up and we bring our best. Show up to Carrie Connects and leave it best. Show up, show up. Something is happening here. Carrie Connects, Carrie Connects. This is your moment, come near. Where every story intersects and every heart connects. From a coffee chat to the main stage, just bring who you are. Carrie Connects, Carrie Connects. Connection is the start. Carrie Connects. Entrepreneurs, voices, friends, where inspiration never ends. You did not come this far just to sit in the back. Everything you walk through was getting you ready for that. So step into the light. Let somebody see your face. Because the right conversation can change everything in this place. When real people talk to real people, something shifts. And real stories meet real listeners, something lifts. Every Saturday we show up